I've always wanted to write a book. I always have many ideas, uh, but the thing that actually I saw there was an opportunities for SMEs in this market, especially because I've come across many SMEs that are opportunistic and they're not strategic in nature. So I thought that there is an opportunity for me to share some of my experiences that I've had been blessed with living in different countries, both emerging, developing, and developed markets, and having the opportunity to observe and explore many different industries too, whether directly or indirectly. And that gave me an opportunity, so I thought I should share some of my thoughts because most businesses don't think about growth, and most of them think about sustainability, but most small businesses don't really survive if you really look at the statistics. So I thought I'll share my thoughts in a practical manner, in a manner that they will understand rather than being preachish. So that was the essence of what I was trying to do. Most, if you are in the Silicon Valley, for example, and if you were involved in the dot-com business in the early days, before the dot-bomb episodes in the 2000, late 1999, 2000, every startup that gets into business thinks about an IPO. But first and foremost, let's wake up and smell the coffee. The probability of a small business going into an IPO is really very, very small. That's one. Secondly, you could probably think about many businesses that start because the founder or the owner thinks it's a great idea or is very passionate about something else, or because some people have no other opportunities. They probably don't have an opportunity or the right job that they're not in, and they just want to get on and do it. But in any way you cut it, you always need to think how we're going to exit. You're going to exit the business one day or the other, because we live in this beautiful planet for a finite period of time. And exit in this way, what I mean is, what would be the balloon value you take out of the business end of the day when you exit? Some people, of course, go on to a better world or the afterworld. When they go on, then they just be running the business just as it is, because none of us can predict our mortality in this world. But we should have a plan. The plan is, are you positioning your business to go for an IPO? Are you positioning your business to be bought out by someone? Are you positioning your business to be sold when you retire? Are you positioning to build your business to pass it on to your kith and kin, to your kids? Then there are different approaches that you have to make on this. If you're positioning your business to be sold out, you first would have to identify the companies that could potentially buy. You probably might want to think what these companies today lack that you can probably position better. You probably can be a pain to these companies whereby poaching away customers from these companies, they'll have no choice but to buy. So there are different ways you can think about this. That's why I wrote about exit. Know your exit before you start. Don't be random. Be purposeful about it. Be strategic about it, not opportunistic, just for the sake of an opportunity. In the early days when digital marketing, when direct marketing, EDM started, electronic direct mail started, I think it was a great thing. But today it has come to a point of very high nuisance, unless the center of the direct marketing is a reputable company. Take, for example, Keep Report. I read the Keep Report when it comes out. Or maybe I can mention your competitors' news, SME Info or the AME Info. I read it. Even if it's just got some products or services that are being advertised to push along with the articles that come along with it, I read it because it's a matter of interest to me. But imagine if you're a company and pushing direct marketing. You get junk in your, how many junk mail did you receive today, Muhammad? Just think about this. I receive a lot of junk mail. I don't even read 95% of them. I have no interest, and I get angry that I even opened it for some of them, even if I open it. That's my reaction. So I didn't write a lot about the electronic means of direct marketing, because there's a lot of material on the web by real experts and so-called experts. So I didn't want to talk about that, because that's anybody who talks about marketing, they think that's direct marketing on the EDMs, So I didn't write about that. Or if you take telemarketing, for example, I know of cases, I wouldn't mention which company and circumstances, people calling up, especially in this part of the world, telemarketing or direct marketing, right before iftar time, Imagine, how would you feel? And people are very devout and pious here, and they generally fast. People generally fast here, I can see that. And imagine this year, Ramadan period that we had, I think it was like 15 hours. I don't know how long the daylight sunrise to sunset was. And imagine you're getting a call, Mohammed, at that time somebody wants to sell you something. You're just about to, you just said your prayers and just about to drink your water and the phone rings and you think it's an emergency call or something. You just pick up because it's human nature. It must be important. Who's calling me during iftar time? You know? And you have somebody. I mean, not only your people, the guy who's calling you, when you hear the name of the company that's calling you, that registers a very negative connotation in your mind. So, you know, think through that. The script. What are you going to do? Do you straight go for the pitch? Or do you try to be evasive? Don't do that, you know. So those are some of the things that companies don't think about, you know. What time of the day, who do you have the target customers? Imagine if you're trying to market a product that is meant for young women and calling you. That means they're not done with their job. You know, you're a man, you're a young man. Or you're targeting me, an old guy, with a young person's product. You know, it doesn't make sense. People don't think about these very obvious things. They don't connect the dots. See, most people, Mohammed, you know, we don't think of the fact, you know, it's not just in marketing alone, in anything, you know. You look at most teams and most marketing and sales organizations. You know, if I have my way, 50% of them will be women to start with. Because 50% of, as long as you're serving the population, 50% of the population, roughly 50%, some places 45, 52, 53, but on an average basis, half the population of the world is women. Secondly, women are very big influencers in purchase decisions. One misunderstanding or a misconception that people have, for example, electronics purchases, it's the man who buys. But it's true, the man who buys, the man might be more in tune to electronic buying, electronic good buying, but it's the women who can have an influence on that. You can either say yes or no. And God forbid if the woman says no, and if you bought it, if you're a married man, you should know that moment. But definitely for important purchases like car and house, woman has much more bigger say. For white goods services, for refrigerators and oven and cookers and all this wonderful stuff, furniture, women have a bigger say. And anything else associated to the house, restaurants, where you go, and women have a big say if you're going out with the family. You think about almost any service, women have a bigger say. So why not target them also at the same time? Of course, you've got to target maybe the key influencer is woman, maybe, or the decision maker might be the man. I do not know. It varies from family to family. It varies from goods to goods. But you have to target women. Of course, there are certain businesses that only target to women. Secondly, targeting to women is good, makes good business sense. First and foremost, women are more loyal than men. Women, once they're convinced you're good, they are very loyal to you. They come back for repeat business. Secondly, a woman's relationships, her networks have more depth than men's networks. Men's networks generally are breadth. For example, I don't know about you, but my wife, you know, her relationships are very deep and very strong. You know, mine is all over the world, and I have, you know, friends, but not the same level of depth and, you know, a friendship that she has. So imagine the women's network, when they say something, they talk about products, and so we don't, men, when they talk, we don't talk, we talk about some gadgets, yeah, that's cool, yeah, iPhone 5 is cool, and all that we do. This game is cool, and or some movies we might talk about, you know. But we don't talk about, I went to that restaurant, and the service was great, and the price was this, and you know, my kid's school bag, I bought from there, you know, it's convenient, the staff was polite. So their network, so you have the network effect, positive network effect that comes from that. Secondly, thirdly, women are more forgiving than men. If you slip, and if you're genuinely apologetic to women, women forgive you and give you another chance. Normally, you know. I don't know in all cases, in all circumstances, but normally women do give you a chance, especially to businesses. In most countries and most companies, people are normally looked at when you hire somebody, well, does the person have the experience, does he have the functional expertise, you know? And then you hire the person, and then you try and test for whether the person is teamwork, team player, and so forth. See, for me, when I hire somebody, this is my own terminology, I say that the candidate, the person, is that an emotionally and practically intelligent candidate, an epic candidate, I use the term, you know. But, for example, you need to be practical. You shouldn't be very overly optimistic or overly pessimistic, not pie in the sky, dreaming, not daydreaming, you know. I'm going to go IPO tomorrow, or I'm going to sell this much, I promise. You have to be practical and realistic, the world around you and the circumstances around you. Secondly, the person, he or she has to be assertive. You can't be yes man or no man, but assertive positively. It doesn't mean that you need to be a hard ass about things and get through. Third thing that I look for is somebody who's deliberate. It's not whimsical, off the cuff. Of course, there are depending on the situation, but generally you have to be deliberate. Business is a whitewater environment. Things change every day. And I used to have people who used to be in my team. Well, John, you told me this 2 weeks ago, and now you're changing. And my response would be, hey, tough luck. This is business. Things change. Things happen. Should happen sometime. So you need to have people who are flexible. Emotional awareness does not mean somebody who is emotionally controlled or emotionally doesn't have any emotional, doesn't show any emotions. Occasionally you need to, as Aristotle said, to show the right emotion, the right person, the right time, for the right reason, the right place. That's an art. You need to show displeasure occasionally. But what I call emotional awareness is that you're aware what makes you high, what makes you low. So for example, on the high side, if somebody's going to give an order, don't overshow your excitement. Contain it, be calm and be cool like you're doing right now. I don't know if you're like this interview or not. I have no idea. For example, or that such and such a person is going to lie to me through their teeth and it's going to peel me off so badly that I'm going to react. If you're aware of this, you can act in a proper that is conducive to conducting good business. Different people ask me this question. Look, it's not like in many countries where you can hire and fire. In this part of the world, when you bring the guy, you're spending a lot of money on a visa, you need to recoup. And then you think, my God, if I fire this guy, now I've got to spend another X thousands of dirhams to get this. So in this country, we have a unique problem, unique situation, I would say. This is a book that is written for folks that I believe that for folks who are running businesses, entrepreneurs, small and medium businesses. In fact, if you're in a large business too, it'll help. It is not written in a manner that is of a dry theory. It is written in a very practical way that you can understand. It's written not as a long drawn words and stuff like that. But more importantly than the format, I think it's a book that will help you think things in a certain manner. First and foremost, you don't have to start from chapter 1 and go on, because it could be very boring. You could start any chapter, just look at the index and see what chapter intrigues you or what chapter has relevance to your current situation, and take a look at it. And I also have a place where you can write notes after every chapter, in such a way that's why I call it a playbook in a way, So you can actually write notes on every, just for your own reminder, for you to understand. For the first chapter, I talk about know your exit before you take the bull by the horns. I mean, imagine somebody asking you to worry about the exit before you even haven't started. Or, how do you engage in a price war? For most SMEs, price war is something they think is matching the price or lowering the price. As SMEs or representatives of large businesses, SMEs who are distributors or representatives of large business caught in a price war, there are different ways you can engage in a price war, because you don't have deep pockets to fight the big boys to do this. Or I talk about all of us have 7 cardinal sins, like sloth and greed and lust and extravagance. Why do you need another iPhone 5? It's extravagance, or greed at its best. So you can use these 7 sins to formulate your proposition to your customer. The proposition is not a product by unto itself. The proposition is the totality of the experience. You have to think through the end-to-end customer journey of the customer experience. So the proposition is the experience rather than just the product unto itself. That's all we're thinking. Then I talk about why is branding important for SMEs. SMEs normally think of branding as having a logo stamped on their business card. I've seen many SMEs, and that's not consistent. The branding means it's all about the proposition, the experience, and you need to have consistency. And branding has a logic to it. You need to have general awareness of your brand. Then you need to get top of mind awareness of your brand for the particular service you're offering. And then I talk about why the brand has to be functional. It has to work for me. Then it has to have relevance for the segment that I'm going after. And then I create loyalty and further usage. And there's a logic to all this, so I try and explain this. So these are some of the chapters that you will see in my book. I also have started my own business, and I failed miserably, and I write very openly and honestly the dots that I connected and the dots that I particularly did not connect. So as they say, hindsight is 20/20, but upon reflection, I wish I had thought about these things. That's the reason why I wrote this.
Thank you very much.